Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Justin and I run a company called LeadBrain. I have a really exciting video to put out today. It's going to be a quick video, really technical, but just an update to our bot build video. And I think that was video 6. If you go back, we built an AI chatbot using CloseBot AI. And at the time of building, we were using an old snapshot that CloseBot used to provide to us, which had like 4 or 5 workflows. And it was pretty complicated. And I think that's what stopped most people from setting this up on their own. But since then, they released an update that completely simplified the entire process to where you technically only need one workflow to make this whole thing work. So I wanted to make an update to our account that we've been building out, Vets Wash Houses. If you haven't been following up to this point, I'm creating an entire video series. I think this is video 10 or 11 at this point, showing you how to create Facebook ads, showing you how to create an AI chatbot so that you can marry those two together and generate leads for your business starting today. All of it's 100% free. I am going to provide this entire account build as a snapshot for $27 down below. If you don't want to go through the hours of content, you can start from a known good configuration, import it into your account, and you'll be off to the races. But if you don't want to do that and you want it all for free, just watch and follow step by step. I take you step by step exactly how to do this whole thing. So this is huge for a few reasons. One is they simplified it, and here's the article here where they announced this back on last week or something. But this is big for a few reasons. One, it simplifies it, which everybody loves. But the second thing is some of you use Go High Level in a white label capacity, which means you signed up with another company that white labels Go High Level and they give you a sub account. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. But some people don't have what's called the agency level, and you're unable to import snapshots. So even if I provided you, like, say, this snapshot and you try to import it, and you're not a Go High Level customer directly, you would have to ask your agency to import that for you, which I think most agency owners would be okay with, but some probably aren't, or maybe they're hard to get a hold of. So this is big because you don't need to rely on that snapshot. Let's go ahead and hop in. If you remember, this is a snapshot of another account that I have. If you remember when we imported the snapshot, and if all this is foreign to you, go to video 6 and watch it. You'll see what I'm talking about. But we imported this snapshot and we have sort of this standard delivery of workflows. And we didn't really go into each and every one of them. They're all pretty complex. If we're being honest, I'm going to go into them so I could show you the level of complexity that we're dealing with here. And so if you were just like, an owner operator of your home service business and you're like coming in here and you want to troubleshoot this whole thing, it can be really intimidating, and I can see why people don't do it. So we take all this and we're going to pare it down to just technically one workflow that we need to engage with the bot, but then we're also going to revamp a workflow that we created that was called lead intake. We created a lead intake workflow. I believe that was in video 7 or 8, where I went through all the automation workflows. We're just going to revamp that. We're going to repurpose that, and we're going to simplify this thing. So let's go in and come over here. If you pay attention to documentation and scroll all the way down to this workflow section, it gives you the exact workflow you need to put together, and it's really just one action, which is cool. So let's go in and come into LeadBrain. This is that lead intake workflow that we created before. Don't worry about that yet. We're just going to we'll go into that here in a second. So let's go ahead and create a new workflow, start from scratch. I'm going to name this one bot interaction. It's probably not the best name for it, but you can name it what you want. And then the trigger is going to be customer replied. Now, if we leave it just like this, which most people do, it'll catch every channel that the message comes in on. And what do I mean by that? That means if somebody text messages you, if somebody emails you, if somebody responds to a DM, if somebody goes to a Facebook Messenger, if somebody goes to Google Messenger, if you still have that set up, a chat widget, whatever it is, it's going to trigger this. It's going to send it out to the bot. Now, CloseBot's smart enough to know if you have the AI tag off, then it's not going to send the message. But if you wanted to say, hey, we only want the bot to work for SMS, let's say, you would come into this trigger and then you would add a filter and say reply channel, and then you would select SMS. And I always like to name them here, because in the event maybe you want to add Facebook Messenger, you can add Facebook Messenger. But for now, we're going to leave it clear and we're going to reply on all channels. So always save when you're doing workflows. Save early, save often. Now let's go ahead and add an action, and the action is going to be called webhook. All a webhook is communication that our CRM Go High Level is going to send out to CloseBot, and it's just going to tell it information about our conversation. So you can get more technical than that, but there's no need to understand it at that level. So right here, CloseBot gives you the option to put one of the two URLs here. And the reason they do this is because some people white label CloseBot. I use CloseBot. I build bots for some of my clients, but I choose not to white label it. I'm completely transparent with what I use, but some people sell CloseBot as their own. And so if you do that, then you can copy this at the bottom here where it just sort of abstracts the CloseBot domain, but it's totally up to you. Both are going to work the same. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL, and we don't need this anymore. We're going to come in here and paste that in there and click save, publish, and save. And technically, at this point, the bot is done. So we built our bot in CloseBot in video 6, and then instead of like importing the snapshot and worrying about all these workflows, we're done at this point. Now, what I am going to show you next is we're going to go through, we created like this complex bot override workflow where we're like following up with the lead in a different workflow, and we had this short-term nurture campaign. I'm going to delete this short-term nurture campaign because we actually don't need it anymore, and quite frankly, it was kind of confusing. It was confusing to me when I made it, so I bet it was confusing to a lot of you. We're going to get rid of it. We're still going to accomplish the same thing, but we're going to do it in one workflow, the lead intake workflow. And the whole bot override message I was telling you about, that custom value that we set up, we don't even have to worry about it anymore. So let's go into our lead intake workflow, and we're going to modify this live. And we're going to come in here. Everything's the same up to this point, but the last thing we're going to do is we are going to remove this bot override action, and we're going to replace it just with a regular old text message. So if you remember from my first video, we went in and we introduced ourselves. So we said like, hi, this is, well, let's add the name just in case we have the name. Hi, contact, first name. This is CloseBot rep name. I use variables for everything. You could spell out whatever you named your bot from location.name, and we leave it at that. And the reason we do this is this is our initial intro text, and we send this text first just so that we can have iMessage say, hey, maybe this is Susan, or maybe this is Samantha, somebody you may know. Then we come in here and we say, we put a small wait step. Let's see, wait 5 seconds. So 0.05 should be, I don't know if it's 5 seconds or not, but we'll leave that at there. And then we come into SMS. We're going to send them another text message almost immediately after. And that's going to be SMS 1, where we send the initial bot message. And all the initial bot message is a message we set. I'll show you where it's at here. So we'll come back to this. But if you come in here, just to remind you, it's this message right here. So thank you for your interest in our service. I need to ask a few questions to get you set up with an estimate. Is that okay? So the first message goes out, it introduces the bot, and then the second message goes out and asks the question to start the conversation, right? All right, so let's go back in there and let's finish up our changes to the lead intake workflow. And what we're going to do here is we sent that first SMS. Now we're going to wait 30 minutes, assuming this lead didn't respond. And I'm going to show you a little hack. What we're also going to do is sometimes leads come in the middle of the night, and we choose to SMS them in the middle of the night. Some business owners may choose not to, but we do. We want that first message to go out. If they're messaging you at 3 in the morning, you have no clue if they're a night shift worker and they like to operate at that time. So we give them the opportunity to engage with the bot at that time. But what we don't do is pester them for 4 hours while they're sleeping. So what I do is I let the initial message go out, and then the rest of them will only go out Saturday through Friday, however you say that. We just take Sundays out of it. And then we come down here and I like to put from 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Those are the hours I like to text people. I don't like to text people super late beyond that. You can do 8 p.m. if you live in a place where you know people are up a little later. So we'll say wait 30 minutes. business hours. I like to be descriptive. And then we're going to send another message. So if we come right here, no, wait, it's not what we need. We're going to send an SMS. And the SMS is just going to be a simple, hey, Joe, you there? Now, at this point, you might be asking the question, like, well, what's stopping this message for just bothering them when they already responded or I already got a hold of them, right? So there's an awesome setting. If you go in here to settings and we're going to turn it on, stop on response. And so because we're using text messages, the workflow is smart enough to know, hey, if the lead responds while they're in this workflow, then just remove them from this workflow, and then these future text messages won't go out and we won't be pestering them. So let's come in here and we are just going to copy. Here's another hack. Copy all actions from here. We're going to copy there. So in another 30 minutes, if nobody responds, I'm going to name this. We're going to break up with them. I like to send a breakup text message. So we're going to say, let's say, we're going to say, hey, Joe, I don't mean to bother you. I'm just trying to get you set up for an estimate. If you're no longer interested, you can reply stop. Give them a chance to opt out. Are you still interested? All right, and if they don't respond there, what we're going to do here is a little bit different. We're going to copy again, but we're going to wait till evening time. So sometimes people are busy at work, so we want to send a message maybe when they are at home in the evening. So let's come into this wait step, and instead of do 30 minutes, we're just going to leave it. We'll leave it at 30 minutes, but in the time window, we're going to come down here and change it to 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. So that last message won't go out till 6:30 p.m. through 7:30 p.m. sometime in between there. And that final message is just going to be a simple evening attempt. And asking them if they're interested in getting their estimate done. Now, you can continue going on, and I recommend you do at least for about another week. I would take the interval down from up from 30 minutes and do it like every day, every 2 days, every 3 days. Send at least 3 or 4 text messages over the next 14 days just to see if you can drum them up. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how many people respond after that like 14-day mark. It's just wild. So at this point, we got rid of our short-term workflow. We got rid of like 4 other workflows that the CloseBot snapshot used to provide, and now we have a fully functional lead capture, lead nurture, and bot automation for our account with just 2 workflows. Now I am going to add an additional workflow, and this last workflow is completely optional. And the reason I'm doing this, it's called a follow-up workflow. And this workflow comes into play not when the lead doesn't respond on the first message, but let's say the lead did respond to the first message and they got removed from this lead intake workflow, because remember we set the stop on response to yes. So what happens when somebody starts engaging with the bot and in the middle of one of the bot's objectives, the lead just stops responding? Let's say the bot asked for their address and then crickets. So if that happens, then what we can do is set a follow-up workflow for the next day for the bot to go up and follow up with that lead. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, and I'm referencing another workflow here just so that I don't have to build it from scratch. But we're going to create another workflow here, and we're going to call it, let me remove this, we're going to call it follow-up tool. Follow-up, let's call it 1 day. And this is a workflow that CloseBot used to provide. So this is not original. This is just what they used to provide, and I'm providing it for you guys as well. So we'll come in here and we will say wait. Name it wait 1 day. Come in here. Again, this is optional. You do not have to do this, but I do it because I like follow-up. I think follow-up is really important. And then all you need to do is come in here and add a webhook. And all you're going to do here is copy this. And then in this webhook, you're going to add some custom data here. And the data is going to be follow-up. Tell the bot you're doing a follow-up equals true. And then I don't know if this is necessary, but I do this. I like to tell it what goals it's finished, because sometimes it'll try to accomplish other goals that it's already completed. So that's it, and it saves it. Now, the change we're going to make to the first workflow we created is always, anytime a customer responds, they're always going to get added to this workflow. But CloseBot's smart enough to know if they have the AI off tag that it's not going to send it's not going to send this follow-up. So this is good to go. Let's come into our bot interaction one that we created earlier. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do this. What we're going to do here is anytime somebody comes in, we're going to send that initial message, and we're not going to wait. We're actually going to remove from workflow. What we're doing here is we're resetting the day-long timer. So we want to reset that 1 day long timer every time somebody responds, just in case they stop responding to us on that interaction. So what we're going to do here is look for tool, follow up 1 day. Awesome. And then we're going to re-add them to that workflow, add to workflow, follow up, tool, follow up 1 day. So we removed them, we re-added them, and that first wait step, remember I did wait 1 day, it pulls us out of there, puts us right back in there, starts that clock over again. Now, that's it. There's one thing that if you wanted to, like I would like to add here, is in this trigger, instead of every time somebody replies, they come in here and this information gets sent out, you can have a little filter here that says doesn't have tag AI off. So that if a contact has the tag AI off because they've already been through the entire pipeline and they're no longer interacting with the bot, then when they respond, say your client or you are responding to your lead, it's not coming through this workflow and sort of wasting resources and just sending messages all over the place. So you can do that. That's it. I hope that was clear to you. I'm going to go in and clean this up, and then I'm going to package it all up. And in the link below, there'll be an option to purchase this for $27. If you don't want to purchase it, totally fine. All this stuff is provided to you throughout the entire series, so you can go in here and do it yourself that way. And I actually recommend that way because then you get hands-on, you get to troubleshoot, and get to make it your own, so to speak. So have a great day. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, share, whatever I'm supposed to say here. Have a nice day. Peace.